Netflix and chill?
नहीं.
What's up guys, welcome back to this month's episode of hashtag asktuggtv mini-series where you ask us questions and we answer.
What shall you do if you're a hardcore metalhead and you have to dance at your friend's wedding? There is just one thing that you can do.
Who's the masked guitarist? We don't know, man. He comes and goes every now and then and says very little. All we know is he's called Mr. Blackhead. Aniruddha Salunke asks, should I buy a headless? Now, I don't see any reason why you shouldn't buy a headless guitar. I think it's a great concept. And in theory, if you really look at it, it's kind of good. It definitely has some benefits, especially around, the open string tune and stability. Not to mention that it is lighter because it's using less wood, which also means it's kind of good for the environment. Of course, going with a headstock or going headless is completely a personal choice, and if that is what you like, no problems at all. You can go ahead and go for it. But keep in mind that headless guitars are very expensive, and if you're going to be bringing them to India, you are importing it, so be ready to shell out a huge amount of money. Most metal mask. This.
There is just one answer. It's Eddie. Favorite bass player, Steve Harris.
Mr. Steve Harris and Mr. Alex Webster. I mean, if I can play half as good as him, I'd take it. I'd be really happy. Favorite Cannibal Corpse album, The Wretched Spawn.
This one. Now, Eaten Back to Life might not be a favorite for a lot of people because, hey, it's not completely death metal. But then this is where somebody like me who kind of enjoys both death and thrash truly appreciates this album. And to be very honest, this is the album which has remained in my mind for, say, forever. Because I can still pick out every riff from each of these songs. But yeah, I do agree the artwork got better with the later albums.
How many guitars do you own? Do you show your guitar collection?
Well, Mats, to be very honest, not enough guitars.
From my perspective, I have a total of 5 guitars right now, and I'm pretty sure this would be a video on its own. Stay tuned for that.
Which reverb pedal is better? Well, Mehul, this is a very personal choice. Well, out of the two, I think the Darkson is my preferred choice of pedal. Now, the main reason is that not only does it come with a reverb pedal attached to it, but it also has a lot of features when it comes to, say, high-pass filters, low-pass filters. And hey, the pedal looks killer as well. Now, in all honesty, I wouldn't be the right person to actually comment about this because I haven't used either of the pedals. So if there's anybody out there who's used both of these pedals or owns at least one of them, can you guys let us know in the comments down below if you like the pedal? And if so, why or why not? Bombay versus Bangalore bands. Well, personally, I prefer the Bangalore bands. Well, I might be a bit biased because, hey, I am from Bangalore. And also, let me be very honest, because I'm not in the Mumbai metal scene, I don't exactly know everything what's going on there. Well, when you think about it, the whole Mumbai and Bangalore scene kind of goes hand in hand because there are quite a lot of bands which kind of keep going across boundaries. And yeah, there are quite a few number of bands which have evolved from each of these places. I'm not sure if I should call it Bombay metal scene or Mumbai metal scene. What do you guys call it? Which of the Indian disbanded bands would you like to see resurrected? Well, in all honesty, there's this band called Millennium, which was one of the first heavy metal bands out of India. The first ever gig that I attended, which was Rock in India back in 2007 or 2008, was pretty much one of their last gigs what they played. And from the moment I heard them, I fell in love with them. And yeah, I don't think there has been an Indian metal band which has come close to the way that I felt when I saw these guys perform.
Thoughts on the ME80? Now, I own an ME70, and in all the years that I've owned it, firstly, not only do I think it is an amazing guitar processor, but it really is quite a sturdy device. It has stood the test of time. I used it around a lot while gigging, and back then I didn't really take care of my things. I was sort of tossing them around here and there. It also got tossed around while I was shifting, and despite it all, it works perfectly. It's a fairly simple to use device, so if you're someone who likes to dial knobs, you really will enjoy that. And not to mention, very workable tones. I personally also like some of the things like the expression pedal and the noise gate, which sort of really eliminates the need for all these additional processors and pedals. The ME80 of course steps up the game from the ME70, so everything that it's already been doing well, it continues to do, and of course brings it up in terms of, the tone studio basically that they call it. which allows you to connect the processor to your computer via USB, and then you have a GUI where you can set up your tones there. Or you could go ahead and use it to download a wide variety of tones off the internet and then set your patches up, making it that much more simpler. I think it makes sense because in today's day and age of VST and the easiness to go ahead and set up patches on the computer, it definitely helps. And at some point, if I have 30 grand to spare, I would definitely like to get myself an ME80, purely because I use a lot of VST, and this gives me that freedom to sort of set up my patches here and then save the bank here, and then I can choose whether I want to emulate things like the amp off the processor or maybe off the VST and make them work in tandem.
Why do you think there are no guitar gods nowadays? So yeah, when you look back in history of the past 50 years or so, there has always been one guitarist who's been defining the sound of, say, the crowd, the masses, and literally everybody in the world. Now, when it comes to the reason why these guys were considered as the guitar gods, these guys were doing things a lot more different than their peers were doing at that particular point of time. The innovation and sound that these guys introduced to the whole scene was something which was craved by a lot of people in the scene. Now, this is where I'm going to talk about the first reason, because nowadays you see too many people just trying to copy their guitar idols and then just kind of sound like them. Now, yes, there is nothing wrong with trying to copy your guitar idols, but then you have to add in a bit of yourself in the songs as well. And now, coming to the reach that these guitars used to have, there used to be very few guitarists whose names would actually be known all across the world. It would be quite difficult for a person to actually break boundaries and be known. This was purely because of the fact that a lot of music was not coming out at the time, or rather you had to be exceptionally good to be known around. To be very frank, in this day and age wherein we have the complete access to the internet, I honestly feel that there is way too much music for us to actually go through and figure out who these gods are. This becomes the thing because the internet is purely more on the factor of quantity over quality. And also another main reason, if you ask me about why guitar gods don't exist, it's all about the social media platforms. Let's face it, even though social media platforms are actually helping us kind of expand our fan base and things like that, it is bringing about a lot of cliches into our lives. Like the Instagram guitarist who just adds a lot of reverb and just plays 2-3 chords. Now, for a memorable performance, people need to stand out, and in this day and age wherein people kind of have this shorter span of, attention, it becomes pretty difficult when your solo is like 1.5 minutes long. A lot of times I see people, kind of starting a video and then going, hey, this other video looks nice. Hey, this picture looks better. Hey, this guitar looks nice. Hey. So yeah, that's the current situation we are all living in. And yeah, coming back to the whole thing with guitar gods, it's not that the concept of guitar gods are dead. For me personally, if you ask me, the newest guitar god whom I've actually come across is Joe Bonamassa. Yeah, I know he's somebody who's been there in the whole music circuit for quite a long time, but then it's pretty new to me. So I feel this is where the whole thing comes down to. If we need a new guitar god, we need to search for them. Now, with all that said, I would like to ask you guys, the viewers, to let us know if the whole guitar gods concept is dead, or do you feel that there's a guitar god among us that we should know about? Now, let us know who they are so that we can spread their word, or their guitar licks when you think about it.
And with that, we come to the end of another episode of #AskTuggtv. Once again, thank you so much for all the questions that you have asked us, and we of course continue to answer them to the best of our abilities. In case your question has not been aired in this episode, it definitely will be aired in the next, so keep them coming. Hit us up in the comment section or in any of our social handles, and we'll be glad to answer them. So this is TUGGtv signing off. I will see you in the next one. If you haven't already, be sure to give us a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button along with the bell icon. And until next time, stay metal.